guys, Ross here talking about fishing line. Have some things happen recently that I think warrant a video and then some. So you bass guys, you know, using fluorocarbon here all the time, and it's amazing some of these guys that just don't know the different options that are out there, and choosing the wrong one, just like choosing the wrong tool if you're working on cars or anything else, is going to cause you problems. Same deal with fishing line. So we were on a salmon trip, had several break-offs, we had a cut through, we had a bunch of stuff. Now some of that things are going to happen. We had some wire line rods that were basically had stuff rubbing on it. We had a downrigger cable in one aspect. We also had one that we think just got kind of bit off like a pike style. But the end result is that a lot of this could have been avoided, or maybe at least gotten that fish in and then have to retie. And the thing was, in both cases, these guys are using fluorocarbon line. No surprise. But regular fluorocarbon, you know, so like, I know you're really going to be tough to see this, but this is like 20-pound P-line fluorocarbon like bass guys would use on a chatterbait or spool up with. Totally different resins, much more. You can actually put this on a spool. You can spool this up. It'd be a little tougher on a spinning reel, on a bait caster for sure. And it's not the right thing when you're using leaders. Right, if you're talking deep sea divers, or even when you're bass fishing. I'm using this on, you know, my thin braid, my walleye casting stuff. You've watched those videos casting graph shads and things like that. When you're leadering off of that small braid, make sure you're using real leader material. There's a lot of them out there. They come in very small spools. It is going to cost you a little more, but you're going to save it just on lost tackle and fish. I can promise you that. And it's not really that much more expensive, especially if you consider how much stuff we've got with all these fancy things nowadays. But P-line Shinsei, this is a true leader material. So again, I know it's impossible here. You got to get one of these in your hands. Just trust me and try this. So this is 20-pound P-line fluorocarbon, but this is 20-pound leader material. You could almost walk a dog with this. This is what I tie my harnesses with, my dip sea leaders. Sometimes I'll even use 25 in those applications, but then I'll go down to, let's say, 8 for like smallmouth drop shot rigs. Most of my walleye stuff, I'm using 10 or 12-pound line, something like that. But this stuff is not that expensive when it really comes down to it. You're only using, you know, 6, 7, 8 feet, maybe a little more on dip sea leaders or something like that. But totally different resins. That's what the video, I can only show so much here. This is very stiff. You do not want to spool up with it, but trust me, as you put your leaders together, you absolutely want to do this. Captain Chris is now doing this after that video. I was kind of giving him some crap about, you know, stuff getting tangled up because it was too soft on those three-way rigs. If you watch that video, if not, perfect time to go look at it. But we were running a crankbait and a spoon on the same rod on a three-way rig. So a lot of different lines out there. The P-line fluorocarbon, it's good stuff, but it's a wrong tool for the job when it comes down to actually using leaders, especially when you're talking about something that's going to pull hard like a salmon. But then inversely, you know, smallmouth, they pull hard. I like smallmouth. It's just largemouth I got a problem with. I don't like the green ones. But when you're using 8-pound and you're catching, you know, really big smallmouth, you get a little bit of zebra mussel or a little wear and tear in there. All of a sudden that 8-pound isn't that 8-pound. And the last thing is the knots that you would tie this with. That's a huge, huge deal. So I'm using don't use a Palomar, okay? You're taking 20-pound test and probably knocking it down to 15 right out of the gate before you've done anything. Use not even a cinch knot, use a jam style knot. The one I prefer is a San Diego jam knot. If you do that, you're going to notice a huge difference where you're not having that down and burnt at that first inch or so when you get done tying the knot. You guys all know it gets that little curly cue and you get that little burn mark on there. You're going to get that from those cinch knots or the Palomars and things like that. You're going to have way, way less pound tests. We can argue about a lot of things, what color lure or line you like. That's all subjective to a point. But I will tell you, when you put these on a pound breaking machine, 100% knot strengths are going to be different, and much, much less when you get into those cinch knots or Palomars or things like that. So look at something like the San Diego jam knot. Look at using true leader line. P-line makes several different ones. The Shinsei has been kind of my favorite all around. They have several good ones in there. But it's harder to bite through. It's easy to tie, believe it or not, and it's going to get you more fish, less lost tackle, less lost fish, less retying. I hate tying. Ugh, I got cheaters now. Ugh.